When brainstorming is done well, it can be an effective technique for thinking up lots of ideas or possible solutions for a simple problem. Unfortunately, the free-for-all approach that is often adopted for brainstorming sessions can result in a few strong personalities dominating the process, whilst other participants may feel unable to contribute. For many organizations, resource constraints or the need to be agile and quick to respond to opportunities means there's little time for the brainstorming approach of running an ideas generation session, followed by a separate session to evaluate the ideas and select those to be taken forward. In either case, combining brainstorming with the 6 thinking hats approach made popular by Edward de Bono can be an effective solution. It's a technique that works well for both individual and group brainstorming sessions, resulting in well-rounded thinking and better decisions. There's no single correct sequence of hats for brainstorming. The important thing to remember is that the technique requires all participants to adopt the same mode of thinking, or hat, at the same time. A group that's experienced in using these 6 thinking hats may be able to participate in a session spontaneously, but most of us will benefit from having a facilitator. The facilitator does not participate in the idea generation. They wear the blue control hat at all times, setting the thinking tasks and directing the flow of the session. They're responsible for maintaining focus and discipline, pointing out when the group starts to stray from the required thinking mode. Let's say that you have 2 hours to run a group problem-solving session with a group of 12 people. Here's a potential sequence of hats. You start with the blue control hat to clearly define the problem that you want to solve, outline any criteria that you must meet, state the intended outcome of the session. Ideally, you'll have shared this information beforehand, so this will be a reminder to get everyone focused. Next, you might present a summary of the relevant information or data relating to the problem, using the white hat. This is also an opportunity for the group to ask questions and to identify any potential gaps in our understanding of the problem. Now we're ready to start thinking creatively. For that, we need the green hat. There are different ways that you can approach the idea generation part of the session, depending on who's in the group and the kind of energy that you want to create. This is where you can tell people that there is no such thing as a bad idea. The aim is to generate as many ideas as possible without judgment. To make sure that everyone has an equal opportunity to contribute, I like to adopt a structured brainstorm approach. For that, you ask the group to spend a minute thinking about their own ideas without talking. This time also helps the group to switch thinking modes. You then allow 3 minutes for everyone to write down as many of their own ideas as they can using sticky notes. 1 idea per note. The time constraint helps to provide focus and generate momentum. At the end of the 3 minutes, or when you can see that the ideas are slowing down, ask someone to share just one of their ideas. Collect the sticky note and place it, or have them place it, somewhere prominent, such as on a flip chart or whiteboard. Ask the group if anyone else has had the same idea or a similar idea, and collect these as well, placing them next to the original sticky note. Once everyone has shared all of their ideas, ask, what other ideas can we come up with now? To provoke further creative thinking and to gather ideas that may have been sparked during the sharing process. Ask further questions as required to help spark ideas. How could we combine some of these ideas? How could we use this idea differently? If we did this, where could it take us? Once the group has generated a number of ideas, you can use the red hat to identify those ideas that the group feels should be explored further. The grouping of sticky notes may provide a visual clue as to how popular the ideas are likely to be, but ask the group, which do you feel are the best ideas? This should be kept short to ensure that we're getting an intuitive response. One way to do this is by giving each participant 3 dots, or votes, and ask them, if you could choose up to 3 ideas, which do you feel that we should explore further? Each participant then places their dots next to the idea or ideas that they feel should be considered next. The aim is to narrow down the ideas quickly so that they can be evaluated as part of the session. Assuming everything has gone to plan, we should be coming up to the end of the first hour. Give the group a 5 minutes comfort break, taking the time to count the votes and decide which ideas you're going to take into the second half of the session. In a 2-hour session, you should aim to shortlist 5 ideas to assess. Select the first idea that you're going to evaluate, and then ask the group to adopt the black hat mode of thinking to consider the feasibility of adopting the idea and the risks involved. Ask questions such as, what are the potential downsides of this idea? What are the likely problems and difficulties if we were to adopt this idea? What are the risks? Do we have the resources and the skills available to do this? The black hat can be used to point out where an idea does not fit with past experience of the group or is not aligned with the values of the organization. We can also use it to point out errors in thinking or where the information identified under the white hat does not support the idea. After 5 minutes, ask the group to use the yellow hat to assess the benefits of the idea. Ask questions such as, what do we like about this idea? What would be the upside of adopting this idea? How could we make this work? How could we make this better? Both the black and yellow hat should be used to consider the short-term and long-term implications of the idea. Unlike the red hat, statements made under the black and yellow hat should be logical. If there's doubt, ask, what's that view based on? Repeat this part of the process for the other short-listed ideas. Ideas that do not fit, where the potential downsides greatly outweigh the upsides, or that are identified as being too expensive to develop, are removed from the shortlist. We can then go back to the red hat to get a quick temperature check of the room. Ask, how do you feel about the ideas now? Which ones do you feel should be taken forward? Do you feel that one of the ideas we haven't explored yet should be included? You can repeat the dot voting or ask for a show of hands for each idea. Finally, we go back to the blue control hat to summarize the session and agree the next steps. Decide how any information gaps identified under the white hat will be addressed, which ideas will be developed or implemented, and who will be doing what and by when. The 6 thinking hats approach to brainstorming will help to ensure that the thinking of the group is both aligned and well-rounded. It allows the group to evaluate ideas during the session, resulting in a better quality of output. And better decisions based on consensus will ultimately save time by increasing the level of commitment and support for the selected idea.